Okie dokie. Hi, everybody. Welcome to this morning's Q&A on potty power and toileting. My name is Melissa. Thank you so much for joining us. Today is going to be a little bit different than our typical model. As far as when I usually do my presentations, I usually do a brief presentation, which is followed by Q&A. Although this morning I will be doing only Q&A. So please feel free to let me know, anybody who does have a question. Please let me know. All you have to do is unmute your mic or raise your hand, and I will be more than happy to answer your questions. I am looking to see right now. I don't see anybody who has a question at the moment. So I am just going to leave it out there. Anybody who wants to ask a question about potty training, I am available and at your disposal. So I see there are a couple of people that are currently on. If anybody here has a question about pottying, toilet training, or anything, please let me know. I see Alicia is here and Philip is here, and someone, I don't see their name, but I see a 904 area code. If anybody has a question that they want to raise, I am definitely at your disposal. I know potty training can be a very challenging task, very daunting task. And I know the older your kids get, the more daunting it can appear. But fear not, it can still happen. I have been in the field for a few decades already and have worked on toilet training with a variety of students at a variety of different ages. And we have successfully toilet trained individuals from the age of 18 months through teens and into their 20s. So while potty training can definitely, and toilet training can definitely be a daunting task, it is doable. I see Sylvia has your hand raised. Sylvia, please unmute your mic, and I am at your disposal to answer your question.
Hi, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Hi, I'm calling in reference to my grandson. He's 3.
Mhm.
I've done I did the potty boot camp a couple of months ago, and he'll be 4 in November.
Mhm.
He pretty much has the potty down packed. You know, he goes on his own, or maybe about an hour or so. If I notice if he hasn't gone, I'll tell him, come on, let's go to the bathroom, and he goes. As far as the poop, we're still having issues with that. He knows what he needs to do. Every now and then he may do it by himself, but for the most part, he still likes to run and hide somewhere and go do it. And
Okay.
then when he's done, then he comes and, tells me, Nana, I went poop.
Mhm.
So yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm still, he still likes to hide
Right.
and do it. And I have the incentives. Okay, when you poop in the potty, you'll get this. You'll get this present. You'll get this gummy bears. The only time he gets gummy bears is if he goes poop. So he knows all that, but I still can't get him to just not go and hide. I mean,
Okay.
yesterday, as a matter of fact, he literally ran right past the bathroom into the closet to go hide.
Okay, that is not
So,
uncommon. That does happen quite frequently. So you could do a couple of things for this. You could analyze the reward that you have. It might have been strong enough to get him to urinate in the potty, but it may not be powerful enough to get him to do BMs in the toilet. The reward always has to be proportional to how difficult the task itself is. So if it's a more difficult task, you're going to need a bigger payoff. It's going to need to be more powerful. So gummy bears may not necessarily do it for him for that. You might need something more powerful. If gummy bears are really powerful and that's kind of the biggest bang for your buck that you've got, then the second option that you can have is to what's called shape him from what he's doing now to what you want him to do. So the first step would be to get him to defecate in the bathroom, but not necessarily on the toilet. So the first step would be getting him to, is he in a pull-up? Is he in underwear? What is he wearing now?
He's in underwears.
Okay, so he's in his underwear. He goes into the bathroom to potty, or, and again, we may have to take backward steps. So our goal is to have him go and eliminate, sit on the toilet and eliminate on the toilet. So we can reward him for just pooping in the bathroom, even if he's not sitting on the toilet, so that all bathroom stuff goes in the bathroom. Like, even if you're not sitting on the toilet, you're eliminating, you're in the bathroom, and that will get you a reward. And then when he's going there more than he's going to hide, then you can raise the criteria of not only do you have to be in the bathroom, but you have to be sitting on the toilet, and you have to eliminate in the toilet. Now, that might be too big of a jump for now, so you might have to start getting him to be closer to the bathroom when he has to go. Since there is a clear antecedent where he will go and hide, that can be your cue. So as soon as you see him go to bolt off, that's where you can bring out the reward and remind him, where you can try to prompt him, let's go at least stand right outside of the bathroom door, and then you'll still get your gummy bear. Or,
Yeah.
so see what piece of it you can get, but you have to be consistent. So if you can get him to go 5 steps outside the bathroom door, then that's okay. But he never gets the reward if he's 6 steps away. Like, it always has to be that. Whatever you, wherever you're able to get him successful, that has to be now the tolerance level. That is where he's at, and no reinforcement comes unless he meets that level. Otherwise, he just doesn't get the reinforcer, right? So that could be something that you're able to do with him that might be more motivating to get him to go in there. And like I said, you might want to just analyze if there's anything more powerful that you might have. Sometimes it's having something new and novel. Sometimes maybe a surprise box with a little tchotchke kind of toys, and the toys themselves may not matter. It's getting to pick a prize out of the box. So play around with that a little bit and see. I would try varying the reinforcer first. And then if that's not successful in getting him to go, with a little bit of a reminder as soon as you see him run, then I would say, okay, how close to the bathroom can we get him to go? And then get him more and more successful from there.
Okay.
Okay, try that.
Sounds
and then let
good.
us know how things go.
Okay, I sure will.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
You got it. Great. I see we have a couple more people in our waiting room here. So if anybody here happens to have another question, I am at your disposal. Please let me know what question you may have, and I will be more than happy to answer it. Just either unmute your mic or raise your hand, and that way I will know that you have a question that you would like me to answer. So what Sylvia was just talking about a moment ago is not uncommon. As I mentioned, it can often be easier to train a urine response as opposed to a bowel response. It's easier to teach because there are typically more opportunities to respond. Sylvia, another thing I should have said was you can also take some data on when he does have a bowel movement. So just write down the day and the time that he has a bowel movement and keep that data for a week or 2. That way you might start to see a pattern emerge. So you might start to see he doesn't necessarily poop every day, but he tends to poop every other day. Or he might poop every day and it's usually between the hours of 4 and 6. It's unusual he doesn't go outside of those hours. Or it's always first thing in the morning or right after dinner, or whatever the pattern might be that emerges. Then you know that's the time to be most on target on top of things. That's the time to be most alert to any little cues or antecedents that he might have that indicate that he has to go. And then you can again try to prompt him to go and then reinforce that response as much as possible with the reinforcer that you have. So sometimes taking that data just gives us a little bit of an idea. Sometimes the bowel movement patterns can be more difficult to discern because not everybody, especially for some reason, kids on the spectrum tend to have more belly issues and things like that going on. So they may not have a bowel movement every day. And that can be difficult to discern a pattern. But when you're writing it down and you're keeping track of it over time, it might be easier to see a pattern that's every 18 to 20 hours or a pattern that's every 22 to 26 hours or something like that. So that can also be something that can be helpful in determining when the best time to be available to really get ready to prompt and reinforce. A lot of times what I've found with the toileting, for a lot of kids that have difficulty with changes and transitions in general, we tend to see have difficulty with the potty training. And I believe it's that change, it's that novelty, it's that newness. If you think about it, their entire life since they were born, they had to eliminate and they just eliminated. And somebody cleaned them up and changed them and they went on with their day. And that's always been the way things have happened, always. So now suddenly, for some reason that the child doesn't necessarily understand because this system's been working for their entire life. Now, all of a sudden, you're saying, well, guess what? We're doing things differently now. Now, instead of just eliminating and getting changed and then moving on with your day, now you have to stop what you're doing, even if you're doing something fun, even if you're in the middle of eating or playing or stimming or whatever it is you might be doing, you have to stop what you're doing, go somewhere else, sit on this porcelain throne that may be cold, may be hard. I might have sensory defensiveness, so it might be uncomfortable to sit there. Kids perceive things in different ways. It can look like a big mouth. So for some kids, it's just scary. And all of a sudden I have to go and do this. And they don't necessarily understand why. So it would be as if suddenly I said to you, well, guess what? Starting tomorrow, we're not utilizing private bathrooms anymore. We're going to give you a bucket and you're just going to go wherever you happen to be sitting at the moment and just clean up later. You would be like, what are you talking about? I'm not doing that. That's weird and different and invasive and yuck. Why would we have to do things differently? It's been working all this time. It's the same rationale that the kids are going through. Why suddenly do I have to stop my engaging activity in order to go and engage in this activity that I'm not really thrilled about to begin with, that could be scary, that could be uncomfortable, and it's definitely different. And a lot of individuals with autism spectrum disorder do not like when things are different, especially sensory things. Another reason why some individuals on the spectrum have difficulty with toilet training has to do with a sense of control. If you think about it, many individuals on the spectrum don't have a lot of control over a lot of things in their life. They are basically told what they're doing, when they're doing it, with whom they're doing it with, what materials they'll be using, for how long they'll be engaged, what they're getting as a result, what's coming next, etc., etc., etc. So they may not have a lot of sense of control over their life or over their day. One thing that you can control is what comes in and out of your body. So once they know that they have control over this, that in and of itself can reinforce the withholding or the not going or the going on their terms instead of doing it the way somebody else wants them to do it. So it could be, like I said, it could be a transitional change being different issue. And if your child is a child that tends to have trouble with change in general, that could be the reason why. Or like I said, it could just be a reinforcement issue. It could be scary. Like I said, sitting, that toilet can look like a big mouth, and it's different to stand in front of it for boys, but to have to sit on it to eliminate a bowel movement can be very difficult and challenging. So all of these reasons, and the fact that this is a behavior that's under your child's control, it's not under your control. If you are asking your child to imitate a motor movement and you say, do this, and they don't do that, you can take one hand in their hands in your hands, and you can prompt them to do what you just modeled for them to do. If you say, touch my nose, and they don't touch their nose, you can physically take their hand and go like this and prompt them to touch their nose, and then reinforce them for that until you can fade that prompt away. However, when it comes to toileting, we can't necessarily prompt that. All we can do is make it more likely that the child will be able to be successful at going. So things like getting rid of the pants, like Michelle says in her potty boot camp, couple days where you can watch your child, you can be on top of them, you're going to make it easy for them to go. So we're going to just run around in our underwear, and that way all we have to do is rush into the bathroom or rush onto the potty, get rid of those underwear and go. It's a lot easier than having to get undressed and then go. So once you're ready to set up this whole system, and you're going to now have a few days where you know that you're going to be able to, like I said, watch for any antecedents, and you know that this is your plan, you can start flooding the child with liquids, non-contingent access to juice, to water, to milk, to whatever it is they like to drink. Because the more full your child's bladder is, the more likely that they will be able to have something in their bladder to eliminate. So if their bladder is empty, it's going to be unlikely that you're going to catch an opportunity where they're able to urinate on the toilet, and then reinforce that and build that reinforcement history so your child understands what you're looking for from them, what is expected of them, and that it's something that gets rewarded when it happens. So we want to flood with juice, flood with water, flood with liquids, because if your bladder is full, you're going to have to eliminate sooner than later. So if I'm giving constant access to liquids, and you don't have to do anything for it, you just have to drink it, it's more likely your bladder will be full. And then if I frequently take you to the bathroom every 5, 10, 15 minutes and give you the chance to go, and reward you for keeping your pants dry and giving you a chance to pee on the toilet, even just a little bit, that is an opportunity to reward, to make that connection between eliminating in the toilet, having dry pants, and accessing that reinforcer. Okay, so flooding with juice can make it more likely you're going to be successful at catching your child during one of those time trainings. That's why we start with the time training. If we know that your child's bladder is full, we know that sooner than later, they're going to have to eliminate. So the more frequently we take them to the bathroom, the more likely it is we're going to catch an opportunity where they're going to sprinkle in the potty. And then we can reinforce and make a big deal about that to establish that connection. If their bladder is not full, it's unlikely that you're going to be as successful, right? You're going to have to wait a lot longer. So what happens when you're offering all this non-contingent access to juice, which just means you don't have to earn it. You don't have to do anything for it. I'm just going to give you juice, water, whatever it is that I can get you to drink. And eventually your child doesn't want any more juice or water or drinks. They are full and their bladder is getting full, and they know they have to pee, and they know that you've been trying to get them to do that, and they don't want to do that. So they may start resisting that access to liquid. So then what do you do? Well, it's called motivating operations. All that is a fancy way of saying we can increase the value of water or juice or liquid. We can make it more likely that your child is going to want to drink liquid by finding ways to make them thirsty. So maybe I give non-contingent access to salty snacks. So now they no longer want to drink their water, or they no longer want to drink the juice that they've been accepting from me. So now I'm going to give them access to chips or pretzels, something salty that I know that they like. And again, they don't have to work for it. They don't have to earn it. They just have to eat it, because I know, again, sooner than later, that will make them thirsty. If they don't want the chips, or I don't want to give them access to salty snacks at the moment, I can get them moving around, running around, build up a little bit of a sweat, jump up and down on the trampoline, run back and forth in the backyard, do some races across the living room, whatever it might be, in order to increase that physical activity to make it more likely that your child is then going to be thirsty. And you can also, while you're playing with them, model you being thirsty, taking a drink, and oh, that's so good. So again, increasing the value of the juice by making them thirsty, and modeling that behavior so that they'll be more likely to imitate it will make it more likely that your child will drink the liquid you want them to drink. Having a full bladder makes it more likely that you're going to catch them in a successful voiding on the toilet when you bring them in every 5, 10, 15 minutes to start. And the other half of that is you also get to reward having dry pants. You want to do both. Okay, so you want to have a reinforcer that they only have for eliminating in the toilet, but you can have another reinforcer that's special that they only get for being dry. But the reward that you're going to use for eliminating in the toilet should be more powerful than the reward for staying dry, because that's the behavior we really want to get. Right? You can take them to the bathroom every 60 seconds and be more likely to catch them dry than getting them to actually eliminate in the toilet. So that's a harder behavior that's less under your control and more under your child's control. So we want to reward it with a bigger payoff. Okay, so we have a special reinforcer that they only get access to if they eliminate in the toilet. We have a reinforcer that they get for having dry pants. Okay. As soon as you bring them in there on that timed schedule, you're going to check their pants, have them touch their pants. Wow, your pants are dry. Great having dry pants. Good for you. And then you can reward them with their dry pants reward or their sticker on their dry pants chart. So not only are you rewarding them for eliminating in the toilet, but you're rewarding them for staying dry. So the absence of an accident and eliminating in the toilet. But eliminating in the toilet, since it's harder, is going to get reinforced more powerfully with either more intensity or better reinforcer or more of it. That way there's a difference. So say as an example, you are using the iPad, and that's the most powerful reinforcer you have for toileting. You might give 1 minute access for staying dry, and you might give 5 minutes or 10 minutes of access for actually eliminating the toilet. That's called differential reinforcement. That means that you're reinforcing the behavior proportionally to how difficult it is or how new it is for your child. So something they've never, ever, ever done before is going to get a bigger payoff than something you've seen them do from time to time or something you've seen them do often. So that's differential reinforcement. If this is a little harder, I'm going to give you a bigger payoff. If this is a little easier, I can give you more moderate or milder payoff. So for something that's easy, for something that's mastered, for something that your child is doing 70, 80% of the time, you might be able to just give praise or a thumbs up or a pat on the back or a sticker, and that might be enough to maintain that behavior because it's not that difficult. For a really difficult behavior like staying dry or eliminating in the toilet when you've never done that before, you're going to need a powerful motivator, a powerful reward in order to get that behavior to happen again. and don't lose hope. If it once you get it to happen once or even a little bit. So if you're about to take your child in and you see that they're starting to pee, that's okay. Race them into the bathroom, pull down those pants and get them over that toilet, even if just a few drops get in there. Like anything that you can get in there, you can reinforce, because eventually your child will make the connection between eliminating in the toilet and getting access to a reward, some payoff that they really, really want. Okay, so I'm going to again open it up for questions for everybody. Anybody who has a question, please raise your hand, bring yourself to my attention so that I can answer any individualized questions that you guys might have. As I mentioned earlier, this is a slightly different format, where in the past I would typically have a presentation with some slides, and then we would open it to question and answer. But because toileting is such a complex skill to teach, we wanted to be able to open it for full Q&A for the entire hour. So please let me know if there are any questions that anybody has at this point in time. Please raise your hand and let me know, and I will be more than happy to answer your question. I see we have a few people here. Oh, wonderful, Mabel. Mabel, if you would like to unmute your mic, I am at your disposal. And what can I possibly help you with? You just have to unmute your mic first. Let's see. Oh, hi, how are you?
Good, yourself?
Oh, good, thank you. What can I do for you?
Yes, I think I logged in a little bit late, maybe 10 minutes. So I didn't really get it. My son is 5 years old. He's not verbal. So I just wanted to know, how do I start with him, with the toileting?
Okay, so has he had any success eliminating in the toilet at all?
No, never.
Okay, is he in a diaper, in a pull-up, in underwear? What does he wear now?
He's in a diaper.
He's in a diaper. Okay. So the first thing that we always talk about in terms of potty training, the first thing we want to do is make sure that your child has readiness skills that will, prerequisite skills that will make it more likely that he will be successful at a potty training program. So things like being able to sit still for a couple of minutes, or a short period of time, being able to follow some simple directions, understanding either if then, or you do something and then you get something. So the concept of earning like a reward for behavior. So will your son sit for a short period of time?
That is the problem. I think maybe I have to kind of hold him and force him, because he's hyper. He's all over, like running around, jump, yes.
So the first thing we want to do is teach him to be able to sit for short periods of time for a reinforcement. So what I would suggest is finding something that he really likes, that's really, really powerful and really motivating and special to him, and then not allowing him access to it other than for this program. So if, say, cheese doodles are his favorite snack in the whole world, he no longer has access to cheese doodles except for through this program. Right. Then the next thing that you would do is work on things like sitting for 10 seconds, setting a timer, and as long as he stays sitting until the timer goes off, reinforcing him with the cheese doodle, and then saying, okay, you can get up now, and letting him get up and run around, and then bringing him back and doing it again. Okay, let's sit down, let's set the timer, 10 seconds, the timer goes off, you get the cheese doodle, you get up and you run. Once he's doing that reliably, then you want to increase the time really gradually from 10 seconds, 15 seconds to 20 seconds to 30 seconds, so that he can sit for 30 seconds to a minute before getting access to the reward, the cheese doodle, or whatever it is that he's working for. So build up that skill to start. That's step one. Once he's able to sit and attend for for 30 seconds to a minute, then I would recommend buying a whole bunch of underwear, okay?
Okay.
And we're gonna, once you know you have 3, 4, 5 days where you can devote time to toilet training, like a long weekend or time over the summer where he's not at school, and you know, like, I'm gonna have 3 or 4 days where I can just devote to intensive potty training, okay?
Right.
During that period of time, you're gonna get rid of the diapers. You're all gonna put on underwear. It's gonna be special big boy underwear. If there's
Right.
a character he likes or a TV show he likes, get underwear that has that character on it. Like, these are your Woody and Buzz underwear. They're big boy underwear. We can't get them wet, okay?
Right.
Once you're ready to start the actual toilet training program, then that's where we start flooding him with juice or water or whatever liquid he likes to drink. You bring him to the potty every 10 minutes. And
Okay.
if it's dry, he gets a reward. And if he pees in the potty, he gets an even bigger reward. Okay, just like I was talking about that differential reinforcement. If something is a little harder, we want to give it a bigger payoff, right? So
Right.
once you're ready to do all those things, so first you have to teach him to sit for 30 seconds to a minute, okay? Once he's doing that, you're going to buy the underwear, you're going to start flooding him with juice, and you're going to take him to the toilet every 10 minutes to give him the chance to sit on the toilet, and you'll reward him if he's dry. And if he eats in the potty even a little tiny bit, he gets a big reward for that. Like,
Right.
if he gets one thing for being dry, he gets 3 of them for peeing in the potty or in the toilet. And then we build up from there. Okay, but the first thing you need to do is to really work on rewarding him for sitting and just looking at you and sitting for like up to a minute.
Okay.
Okay, and then let us know how that's going. Come back to some more meetings. Keep us posted on your progress, and we can continue to give you some suggestions along the way so that we can provide that assistance.
I'll definitely do that. Thank you very much.
Oh, you are very welcome. So for everybody who's in the meeting today, just so that you're all aware, if you go into the Q&A section of the screen, there's a link where you can book a call. So if you click on that link and you book a call, you can speak with one of our representatives, and they can let you know what kind of services we can offer to you on an ongoing basis. Something like toileting is a big behavior, and it can take a lot of suggestions along the way, right? So we might have to help you initially develop those prerequisite skills that let us know that your child is ready for toilet training, right? Once we know that they're ready for toilet training, then we can give you those, again, individualized suggestions on, okay, buy the underwear, get these underwear. Let's start taking some data on when he is eliminating, how often is he having an accident. So you know, well, he tends to go every 3 or 4 hours, or he tends to always go right after lunch, right? So writing things down allows us to figure out what the pattern is. And once we know what the pattern is, we can figure out a plan to address it. So we want to write things down, figure out what the frequency is, and then we can again give you individualized suggestions where we can say, well, look, it looks like he's going on the average this, so here's your first interval, take him every 20 minutes to the toilet. Or we might look at your data and we might say, you know what, take him every 35 minutes and give him the opportunity to go. Again, after you book a call, when you have access to us on an ongoing basis, if something comes up and the strategies that we're discussing during our workshops, during our presentations, if something we suggested either happens a little differently when you apply it at home or doesn't work for whatever reason, having that ongoing support allows you to ask a question, allows you to reach out to us on the Facebook group, or if you're in our one-to-one accelerator program, you can email your BCBA or reach out to Michelle or Stella, let them know you're having a hard time, and then we can all connect and give you some strategies and suggestions individualized. Or you could be part of our group training meetings where parents that have, again, similar issues and are going through similar things participate in meetings on specific topics so that we can, again, provide that individualized assistance as you're utilizing these strategies. Nicole, I see you have your hand up. Please unmute your mic and let me know what I can answer for you. Are you there, Nicole? Nicole, if you're there, I see your hand is raised. Well, you need to, yep, hello. All you have to do is unmute your mic. There we go. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I am well. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
What can I do?
So my question is, my little boy, Riker, he's 3.5. I talked to Michelle a little bit yesterday. But so I tried again this morning. So basically, to start from the beginning, we started potty training Friday. We decided we're just not going to do a diaper. Like, so he's just been running around like naked for the past few days. And so he took to potty training pretty well. Like, he kind of grasped the concept that, like, if I pee here, I'll get something.
Yes.
So when he first did it, it was outside on our deck, and we have a little tiny potty that we've been like literally carrying around everywhere we go. So that's the first time he did it, right on the deck in a certain spot. And so now I'm trying to move the potty in the house, and he won't go. So this morning he woke up at 7 o'clock, dry diaper. So I knew he had to go. He literally just went, and it's because I eventually just moved the potty back to the deck because I knew he had to go. Right. So I'm just like having this like internal thing, like I don't want him to hold it for that long and kind of go backwards. Do you know what I mean? And I know it's not like
No, I know what you mean. So there are two strategies that you can try for this. Okay. So you can either shape the behavior where you start where he's successful and your end goal is having him pee in the bathroom on the toilet. And we might have to take baby steps from where he's at to getting him in the toilet. So what I mean by that is initially the potty goes outside on the deck where he expects it, and he utilizes the potty there, and he gets rewarded for that. And then right after that, you move it like a foot closer to the house, but no more than that, like 1 foot closer, and that's it. And then he goes and he gets rewarded. And then after he does that for a couple of days, move it a foot closer, really gradual, like he can almost not even tell the difference. Each time, just move it a little tiny bit closer, a little tiny bit closer, a little tiny bit closer. Now, once you get to the threshold, okay, once you get to the potty is right outside the door and you've got to get it over the door jamb and into the house, you're going to like triple the reinforcer for that. Okay. So the first time you're going to move it, you're going to tell him, like, if he gets 1 M&M for peeing in the potty on the deck, he's going to get 3 M&Ms for peeing in the potty in the house. Okay. And that's going to be, so very gradually, 1 step at a time. And then if he doesn't, so say it's time to move over that door jamb and he doesn't want to do it, and he wants the potty back like right outside the door jamb, he doesn't earn the reward for that. So he gets the pee, but he doesn't get his reward. And if you have a reward that's powerful enough for him, he has to want the reward more than he wants to pee on the deck in that spot. So that's is to find the reward that he wants more than he wants that, and to only give it to him when he meets the criteria that you're holding for him. Okay. So if right now he's 2 steps from the door and the potty is 2 steps away from the door, he only gets rewarded if he pees when that potty is 2 steps from the door. If he pushes the potty 3 steps from the door, he can pee in it all he wants. He's still not getting that reward, whatever that reward is.
Got it. Okay. That's super
That's
helpful.
the only difference, is that if you go where you want to go instead of where I want you to go, you can go, but you're not going to get anything for that. But if you go in the spot that I want you to go in, then that's where you're going to get your reward for it. It's not just for going, it's for going where mommy tells you to go.
Got it. That makes sense.
Okay, so that's where I would start, is with the shaping and with the differential reinforcement. So those are those two components I was mentioning before.
Perfect. Thanks. Thank you so
Okay.
much. That helps a lot.
My pleasure, and please keep us posted.
Will do. Thank you.
You're welcome. I see Therese. Therese has your hand raised. So Therese, if you want to unmute your mic, I am at your disposal. Hi.
Can you hear me?
I can. How are you?
I'm doing well. My issue with pottying is so my son is 7
Mhm.
and he goes to the bathroom fairly well during the day. Our issue is trying to get him to not pee outside all the time. Because of course with a boy, that's what they love to do. You know, he likes to go in the parking lot between cars. And he likes to, like the previous caller, pee on the deck or underneath the deck. But our main thing, so that's that. And then number 2 is like the main thing. He still will not go number 2 on the toilet. Even when he was younger, it was always, he goes in his office. We call it the office because it was like either under the dining room table or behind the couch. He would crouch, do his business, and then come out. And, of course, you smell him. Well, fast forward, he's older now, and what he does is he'll go number 2 in his underwear, and then he eliminates his species in the actual toilet, and then he'll let you know so he doesn't clog up the toilet or whatever. So you have to go in and But yeah, we're trying to get him. I don't know if you have any tricks to get him to understand it's okay to push, sit down on the toilet. That's what big boys do.
I would get some potty books, like get some books so that he can see like social stories and stories about, there's a lot of like books at different reading levels and comprehension levels about this very thing, so that you can look for some of those, and that way it just kind of reinforces that concept with him. But just like the last caller, it's going to be a lot about the reward and him earning it for doing it the way you want him to do it, and not earning it for when he doesn't do it that way. So you can start with, he just has to go, first we have to figure out what the issue is. Is it that he doesn't want to poop in the bathroom, or he doesn't want to poop on the toilet, or is it that it's a change for pooping, or is it about the control? It's one of those 3 things, right? It's either about, I want to have control over this, and this is something I can 1000% control, so I'm gonna, or it's about, that's weird and different, and I don't do that there, and so it's hard for me to have that change. Or it's that you don't have a powerful enough reward, and he's not seeing the difference between earning it and not earning it, right? What is his reinforcer?
So, of course, YouTube, but I believe it's a position thing. As far as the actual sitting in a 90-degree angle on the toilet to, then push, because he'll say, I need to go stinky, and he wants to do it. He'll sit on the toilet, but then he doesn't do anything. And then he'll get up, and obviously like 30 minutes later, then he does it, because I think he goes back and forth with it being pushed up, because, once you're interrupted from how you do things or comfortable with doing it, I tell him, go try, and then it goes back up, and then he feels it again, and then I try to put him on a pot, and then, that type of thing. So we go back and forth. But he'll go literally like 30 minutes after he sits. He'll get up and say,
so have you spoken to his doctor about maybe getting like a stool softener or something, so it's a little easier for him when he does push?
Somebody did suggest that, but no, I didn't talk to the doctor about it.
You could do that. Another thing that can help, that's not like a stool softener per se, apple juice tends to encourage bowel movements. So if you kind of flood him with apple juice, I don't know if that's something he'll drink, it'll make it like easier for him to poop, and it'll soften the stool as well. So he won't have to push as hard, and it'll be a lot easier when it does come out. It won't necessarily be as solid or hard, not to be gross or anything, but it'll be harder to kind of like turtle back up. So that might make it a little bit more successful as well. And then once you have the reward for him, so if it's YouTube, he should not get access to YouTube for any other thing but for this. Can you do that? Is that something that's feasible?
That's a hard one. That's a hard call.
Okay, so then that should not be the reward. If you can't limit it then it shouldn't be the reward for this. Okay, so you
Right.
got to pick something else. If it's a snack that he doesn't usually get that he loves, or a toy or an activity or a special thing that he just doesn't usually get, if like the iPad and those kind of things are the only things that you have, get a special app that's only on your phone, not on his stuff, so that he has to earn it by getting your phone to get it instead of having it on his tablet or his phone. So whatever it is, it has to be something that he can't just have later. Because if I can have it later, why should I try this really hard thing? I'm going to get it anyway. Right? It's like, well, you have to go to work in order to get paid, but if you stay home, we'll pay you anyway. Why should I go to work? Right?
Right.
That's what you're doing. You're paying them for staying home. Okay, so we have to find the reward that you can hold contingent for him. If it's a special snack or candy or treat or game or toy, or like I said, special app, whatever it is, he only gets it for this. Okay, and then you can start with, when you do stinky, you have to do it in the bathroom. Even if it's in your underwear, you have to do it in the bathroom. So start there. At least he's going into the bathroom to eliminate. And even if he's eliminating in his underwear and then cleaning up, that's step one. Once you get him going into the bathroom, even though he's eliminating in his underwear, then the next step would be, okay, now we have to go in the bathroom and you have to sit on the toilet to do it. Otherwise, you don't get the reward. That's the only difference, is if you go and you're still going in your underwear, you don't get that reward. If you go and you sit on the toilet and go, then you do get the reward. And that should motivate enough to start to see some success.
Okay, good advice. And with the stool softener, how often do you recommend to do that? I mean, that's not something that you give like on a daily basis, basis.
So that's why I said, if it's not apple juice, if it's something like actual stool softener that you could just buy over the counter, read the directions, it'll tell you based on his size and stuff like that, how frequently and what you should do, or you can talk to his doctor and just get that specifics from him. But really, it should just be until you get a couple of successes so he can see, oh, look, I did that, I got this reward and good things happened. Then eventually you shouldn't need it so much anymore. And if it is about the fact that his stool is too hard, it could be like a dietary issue. If he has a restricted diet, it could just be that what he's eating is making it more difficult for him to eliminate. So it might be like a dietary fix might make it easier for him, or it could just be like, I just have to get over this because it feels different to poop than it does to pee. And once I do it successfully a few times, then I'm over the fear and I can continue doing it. Okay. Please try that and please keep us posted.
Okay, will do. Thank you.
You are very welcome. So if anybody else has a question, please let me know. We're going to wrap up in a couple minutes and I want to be able to answer any questions that are out there. So as I was just saying, a few minutes ago, this is such a challenging skill, and that's why I always recommend booking a call, only because when we're giving these suggestions, sometimes it could be hard because we might say, well, here, try this. And if it doesn't work for this reason, try this. If it doesn't work for this reason, try that. It could be hard to remember that, first of all. It could be hard to determine sometimes why it's happening. Sometimes you might have difficulty remembering, okay, what was I supposed to figure out the reason was, and what was the option if it was this one, what was I supposed to do? And if it was this thing, what was I supposed to do? Or you might be figuring it out. And we said, if it was this, do this. If it was A, do this. If it was B, do this. And you might have figured out it's C. Now what do I do? Right? So having that ongoing access to us on a regular basis allows us to provide that support, provide that assistance, to troubleshoot when a suggestion doesn't work, to reinforce when you are trying stuff and it is working. Sometimes these things work slowly and it can feel frustrating when you're in the middle of it, but sometimes having an outside person's perspective can make it, we can see that progress more objectively than you can. So sometimes you might be feeling like nothing is changing, nothing is working. I'm still buying pull-ups and I'm still cleaning up accidents and I just don't feel like it's working yet. But having that outside person to go, but wait a minute, you started taking them every 5 minutes. Now you're taking them every 20 minutes. And he had 2 successes where he had never done that before. So you're doing a good job. Keep it up. Sometimes another parent might have a breakthrough or a suggestion that they're talking about on the Facebook page, and that might spark a similar suggestion or idea that you may not have had before. And a lot of the families that do book calls and work with us regularly have developed some nice relationships through the Facebook group with the other families and have been able to support each other and give each other suggestions and strategies, someone to vent to who understands the difficulty, somebody else to cheer for all those little successes along the way because they understand how big those little successes are. So there are definitely multi-level benefits to booking a call. So please look in the Q&A, click on the link, book a call, and then you will have access to us on an ongoing basis. So I'm going to open it up again for questions. If anybody has a question for me, please feel free to raise your hand. Otherwise, we will be wrapping up in a few minutes, and I really want to make sure that if anybody does have a question, that I have been able to try to help you and to answer and address that question. Like I said, we have regular group meetings when you do book a call and you do become part of the Champions for Our Children family. We have weekly Thursday group parent meetings. No, they're not always on Thursdays, but we have weekly group meetings for the parents where we provide a brief presentation and then do question and answer like this at the end, either about the topic of the presentation or about any questions that just might be going on in your life at that moment in time. We have calls with our life coach, with Michelle, and she is there to provide a lot of support and assistance for all the parents. We have our life coach, Stella, who is just amazing to get you into the right mindset. Sometimes it's about getting out of our own way and being able to utilize all the strategies that are available to us. We have various BCBAs in addition to myself. We have Stacy and Armando. Armando is a BCBA who is also on the spectrum, who has received services his whole life. So he provides a very unique perspective as both a BCBA and someone who has received services. So he's been on both sides of the table, so to speak. We have our food dietary coach, Greer. She is amazing, and she does a monthly meeting as well. So that is our services for our group meetings, and we also have a one-on-one accelerator program where you get individualized attention. You get meetings with the BCBA and with Michelle, with the life coach. Individual. So it's not a group meeting. It's all scheduled with you on an individual one-on-one basis. So we can provide whatever support that you might need for whatever you're going through individually. So like I said, we have a lot of levels options for you. So please look in our Q&A, book a call, because I really want to hear all the progress from all the suggestions we gave today and be able to give suggestions for other things that might be coming up in your lives. So I'm going to open it up one more time for questions. Hello?
Yeah, we have one last question from Facebook streaming.
Oh,
In
okay.
the chat. I put it in the chat.
Oh, let me go look at that right now. It's in the Q&A?
In the chat.
In the chat. Sure where to find that, to be honest with you.
I'll put it in the Q&A.
Thank you.
I can't write in Q&A.
Okay.
But
Can you just read it to me what it is?
yeah, she said, it's Kimberly Span from Facebook. She said, you all may have covered this, but our 5-year-old is on the spectrum, and I can take him to the potty 4 to 5 times, but he won't eliminate. As soon as I put the pull up on, he eliminates. How can I elevate this?
Okay, so Kimberly, that is a very common thing that does happen. You can see that your child has control, exquisite control, as a matter of fact, because they can wait until that pull-up goes on. So one way to handle it is we get rid of the pull-ups altogether. There are no more pull-ups, so you can't put on the pull-up. In order to eliminate, you have to eliminate in the toilet, or you're going to soil those big kid underwear that we just bought, right? Another thing that you can do is differential reinforcement. So differential reinforcement is, again, reinforcing a more difficult behavior with the bigger payoff. So if you can imagine a sheet of paper with a big bar down the middle of it. And on one side of the paper, there's one circle. And on the other side of the paper, there are 4 circles. Okay. And above the side of the paper with one circle, it said in the potty. And on the side of the paper with the 4 circles, it said in my pull-up. Okay. So you now have a sticker chart. If your child goes into the bathroom and eliminates on the potty without eliminating in the pull-up, you give them a sticker or a check or a smiley face on the side of the page with the one circle, and you say, oh my goodness, you eliminated, you peed in the potty, you pooped in the potty, great job. You get your sticker here, and then you get whatever the reinforcer you're using for the potty program. And as I mentioned before, it should only be available through this program, nothing that they get at any other time. Okay. If as soon as you get them off the toilet and put on that pull-up and they eliminate in the pull-up, okay, then you get a check on the other side because they eliminated in the bathroom, right? You can give them a check on the other side, and then they have to earn many more checks on the other side in order to access a reward, so that they can see the difference. They can see that if I do it the way you want, I get something big that I want and I get something immediately. But if I do it on the other side, I get a less powerful reinforcer and it takes me a longer time to earn it. Sometimes that can be clearer when it's a control issue. It can be easier to do than just the absence of reinforcement altogether. You have to analyze if you have a powerful reinforcer so that, again, your child can see the difference between I did it in the toilet and I'm earning blank, or I didn't do it in the toilet, in which case I am not earning access to blank. So please book a call. I recommend, because this can be a little bit of a complicated situation, again, depending on the reason for the withholding. So we would want to give you a suggestion, have you try it, have you get back to us with the information, and then give another suggestion based on your success. So I really hope that you can keep us posted. Okay. Oh, good. Yay. My pleasure. So thank you guys so much for participating today. It is always a pleasure to speak with you guys and to answer your questions. I will be doing a workshop this evening, and I hope to see some of you then. So if so, I will see you guys at 6:30 later this evening. And tomorrow, Thursday, I will also be doing our parent group meeting. So hopefully I will see some of you guys at those workshops and meetings as well. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time and attention. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Book a call, book a call.